Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
We need Kong. The world needs him. It's Godzilla. There was a war. And they're the last ones standing.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Adolf, and I'm here to do a 3D movie review of Godzilla vs. Kong. It's been a long time since I've done a 3D review. And let's start off with the 3D aspect first. I actually went to the theater and saw this in theater in 3D. Woo! It's been a year. And unfortunately for this movie, the 3D wasn't fabulous. The best word to describe the 3D was inconsistent. I was pleasantly surprised how well the 3D worked and looked when it was actually in darkly lit scenes. Obviously, your minds will vary. There's a lot of scenes of just people talking to one another in the dark, and they kind of only used a little bit of 3D where they only have like 3 layers: a foreground, midground, and background, and that's it. But I was surprised how many darkly lit scenes work really well in 3D. A lot of times, many times, I've gone to different cinemas where they have a darkly lit scene and the 3D just breaks and it doesn't work. And for me, for my theater, for my instance, it worked. The 3D was fine, but it just didn't wow me. They didn't have any real pop-out 3D. It just kind of, like, the depth wasn't as much as I would have liked either. I would have liked more depth because you're seeing these, titans up there fighting Kong and Godzilla, and having an aerial shot where you have the depth there to really see how big they are would have helped. But you didn't really get that. Maybe here and there, but for the most part, I'm complaining, but overall, I actually still kind of liked it. The various action scenes, which is why you're here to watch this movie, are fun and well done in 3D. The action has a lot of stuff flying around, very immersive visual experience. The Godzilla fights and look very lifelike, and the character models for Godzilla and Kong themselves, when you see them in 3D, they look more realistic because they're 3D models, not just flat. So, kind of brought me more into it. I was really hoping that they would have more pop-out 3D stuff. I felt like the 3D could have been better in many scenes. I would have loved to have Godzilla or Kong to be actually escaping the bounds of the aspect ratio and popping off the screen. It's not done that often, and when it does happen, it's cool. And this was a movie that, oh my god, I would have wanted so much to happen. Because they're supposed to be gigantic, huge creatures. So if the movie couldn't capture them, I think that would have made some really wild moments, and sadly that didn't happen. I can't really specify a scene where the 3D really shined. It was just, pretty fine throughout, and some peppered moments here and there of really greatness. In closing, I think 3D fans will find enough joy moments to make a 3D barely worthwhile. This is my first experience going to see a 3D movie during the pandemic. I wore my face mask from beginning to end, and occasionally it fogged up, but I was able to move my glasses a little bit farther down my nose and move my mask down a little bit, and it was fine. I didn't have any problems. The theater itself was clean. Everyone was wearing masks that I could see, and everyone had a space in between them if they wanted it. So the theatrical experience was fine, and the 3D itself was fine. So overall, I'll give it a good 3D. Now on to the movie itself. Look, Godzilla vs. Kong is not an art house film. It is what it is. Godzilla and Kong vs. Kong is a stupid, fun action movie. Nothing more, nothing less. The plot is essentially just a thin, pathetic excuse to have these two titans fight. Godzilla has recently attacked the city and nobody knows why. The story is split up between 2 subplots, and neither one of them are interesting or strong. The first subplot follows Millie Bobby Brown's character, Madison Russell. Madison is essentially a leader of a trio, and they're investigating the Apex Corporation and possible connection to the unprovoked Godzilla attack. She has this little crew with her, this like nerdy guy that reminds me a lot of Ned from the Spider-Man movies, the recent ones, the Far From Home and Homecoming, and this other podcast conspiracy theorist guy. And the other subplot revolves around Kong needing to get off of Skull Island and go to the center of the Earth. Apparently, Kong and Godzilla are ancient rivals, and they've been destined to fight each other because they're both alpha predators. The two subplots eventually join together and make a weak narrative. This is the fourth movie in this Titan monster movie universe, and it's possibly the stupidest of all of them. So many times I just kind of rolled my eyes, just like, really, movie, that's what you're going to do? That's the decision you're doing? That's what's happening? Come on. There's so many times just like, really? But, I mean, in all honesty, this is not a logical, art house movie. This is a movie with a giant lizard fighting a giant ape. So, you gotta have some slack. This is pretty dumb, though. It's almost as dumb as your average Transformers movie. You don't need to really watch the other movies to get the sense of this. I feel like they do build on and connect to the previous movies, but for God's sakes, it's just excuses to have these two things fight. At this point, it's almost a self-parody and how dumb it is. It's just, I want to talk about why, but I don't want to give out huge spoilers, so I'm just trying to be considerate and not say this thing and that thing was just so stupid. But a lot of things here are stupid, and it's just like, come on. Other characters are fine. I don't really love or hate any of them. They are what they are. This is a hodgepodge of forgettable collection of movie cliches. Despite all the flaws, I still enjoyed it. I wasn't bored. Now, if you're wanting to see Godzilla vs. Kong, you want to see action, right? That's why you're here. You don't really care about the stupid plot with humans. You never really cared about the other one, so why would you care about this one? And, well, action is the reason why you come, and you will get what you want. Because the action here is fun, and it delivers. I found it to be well choreographed and well shot. No more ugly colors and odd camera angles. I'm looking at you, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I'm sorry, that cinematography in that movie sucks. It just doesn't. It's just annoying to watch that movie. Here, hey, you get some really good, clean angles in the sun and them fighting. And, there's one stylized fight in Hong Kong that is in the dark, but I can still see what's going on, and I still enjoyed it. Special effects here perfectly complement the action. I enjoyed how the filmmakers animated the Titans. These things look real. Part of it is the 3D, looking into it, and like, wow. But it just is how you would think they would behave in a lifelike manner. I don't know if they motion captured lizards or motion captured apes, but they have a great presence on screen, and it just works. They have a real weight to them too. It feels like, okay, they're actually, moving through these areas in a way that makes sense. It's a joy to watch these Titans fight. I was like, yeah, this is fun. I dig this. Only one action scene disappointed me, and that was in Hong Kong, and it kind of feels like they ran out of money because they kept kind of shortchanging the scene, and they kept having it in the background, and it's just like, okay, I guess they ran out of money because they didn't want to show that too much. But, I mean, come on. Overall, though, the action delivers. And I think most people will walk out of this movie and be like, yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm very happy with this action. I got what I wanted. I got to see the gorilla fight the lizard and, respect. So, in closing, what do I think of this movie? It's so dumb. It's so stupid. But it's fun. I was entertained. And that ultimately is why I go see movies, for entertainment value. and I can recommend it. You know, for the final score for this movie, I was going back and forth in my head between two numbers. Because it's dumb. It's so dumb. You know, I think most of these Godzilla movies have really dumb plots. I still enjoy them to a degree. Each of them have their pluses and minuses. I think they're all directed by different people and written by different people too. So, but it works. So, what do I give this? What do I give Godzilla vs. Kong? I'll give it a 7. I was going back and forth between a 7 and a 6, but at the end of the day, I like it. And I was kind of thinking about this movie, you know, I was like, this is fun. I enjoyed it. It's not a great movie. It's not, you know, high art. I didn't cry. It's fun action, and it does exactly what I want it to do. So, yeah, I could recommend it. I guess that's going to be it for me. Thank you for listening. Bye. Before this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Kano3D, Mr. Bengal 5, and Kevin Winter for your financial support on Patreon.com. So that's going to be it for this podcast. Thanks for listening. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Links are in the info box. If you want to send us listener mail, our email address is email3dortwo@gmail.com. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.